What is up, and welcome back to another episode of Blood and Beer, the show where we talk blood sport and we drink beer. I'm your host, Matt. As always, we've got some MMA to talk, we've got some beer to drink. We're sipping on Blue Moon Extra Belgian White today. Belgian style wheat ale. You know what it is. And then we're talking UFC Vegas 105, Murphy versus Emmett. We're going to break down the whole card, recap it for you, get you what you need to know. It was definitely a fight, definitely a card that happened. My bets did terrible. My bets were just atrocious. I went down $490 on a grand. Still up year to date about $800, a little more. Cody, he did it all right. He was up about $300 this week. Still on a heater. He's close to $3,000 profit this year. So we're both in the red. We're both looking all right. Noah, he sat the week out again. Still negative $1,250. He needs to get some of that capital back. About $2,000 between he and I. But regardless, we're talking UFC Vegas 105, Murphy versus Emmett, and the whole card. We're going to kick things off with the main event. Lerone Murphy went out there and beat Josh Emmett in a MMA bout. He outpointed him for 5 rounds. Josh Emmett, though, if you watch the fight, he has all the highlights. He did more damage. He did what he needed to do. His face might have been a little cut up. He's 40. So what? So what? Lerone Murphy's doing no damage. He's doing knee stomps the whole time. He's doing calf kicks and body kicks, but nothing of significance. Just sitting on his bike, running around the outside for 5 whole rounds. Josh Emmett's just begging him to fight, slamming him down. Last minute of the fight, he's like, come on, let's fight. Let's actually fight. And Lerone Murphy's just, no, I'm going to keep running. No, I'm going to keep running. So he gets the win. And the first time in UFC history, I would have to say, he gets booed out of the Apex. 120 people there or so, and they're booing him so loud you can't understand what he's saying on the mic. This win does absolutely nothing for Lerone Murphy when we get down to it, when we look at the big picture, because he's at a point where he's on the outside of the top 5 looking in, but an emphatic win gets you a number 1 contender fight, and he's just not being emphatic. He should have lost the fight with Dan Ige, a lot say. I had it for Ige. Most people I talked to had it for Ige when they fought. This fight, yeah, you won on points. Josh Emmett was the aggressor. Every highlight comes from Josh Emmett. You did nothing with this win. You had to really show out. You're being buried by the NCAA Final Four this weekend. You really had to show out, and instead you got on your bike and you gave us a Leon Edwards-like performance where you just run on the outside. So shouts to you getting the win, but all for naught. I think they give you someone like Aljo or Evloev next and just send you on your way, get you out of here, give them a fight so they can say, hey, this will be their number 1 contender fight, get Lerone out of here. Because just not moving the needle for me, not an interesting fight. But we'll move on. We'll forget about it because we have a great card next weekend, and that's what we hang our hats on. So the co-main event, Pat Sabatini versus Joe Anderson Brito. I couldn't have been more wrong on my read on this. I thought Brito's going to be stuffing the takedowns, going to be knocking Pat Sabatini's head clean off. Said he's going to nuke this dude. No problem. There was a problem. Pat Sabatini's takedowns and Joe Anderson Brito's fight IQ. Pat Sabatini has one way to victory, and it's to get you on the ground and choke you out or ride you out for the 15 minutes that he's fighting you. Joe Anderson Brito can do it all if he wants to, but what he wanted to do this whole fight is jump the guillotine over and over and over again and end up on his back and let Pat Sabatini ride him out, get a decision victory as a dog. I don't know what the hell happened to Joe Anderson Brito. Career was on a crazy trajectory. He's the guy that beat Diego Lopez in the Contender Series. You know, he's beating everybody, knockout, submission, just looks like a savage. Goes up against William Gomi, has a bit of a lackluster performance. I thought he won that fight, but it is what it is. Then he goes out here this time and just gets fucking wrestle fucked for 3 minutes or for 3 rounds. Looked terrible. I don't know. We're gonna need a career reset for you, Joe or Anderson, whatever you prefer. And then we had Chong Ho Lee. CHL, as I said, he's getting the nickname if he gets the win, and he did it against Cortavius Romeus. A fun fight. These dudes are scrapping, both beat up by the end of it. Chong Ho Lee gets a victory by TKO in round 2 with ground and pound. But these guys, they were scrambling. They were going at it. CHL, he's one of those guys. I said coming into this fight, I don't know how I feel about him coming off of the road to the UFC. These guys seem like they have a lot of hype. They come in and they either suck or they blow the doors off. He didn't really do much of either, but he got the job done against Cortavius Romeus, who is 5'4" and somehow missed weight by 3.5 pounds. But it is what it is. We'll move on. We'll get through this show. We'll get through this card. It's going to be a short one. It's going to be a real short one because not a lot came from this card. But we're gonna fill you up with content this week. Don't you worry one bit. So then we have Brad Tavares. He gets a decision victory over Gerald Meerschaert, and it was a classic Gerald Meerschaert fight, except it was against a vet instead of a young killer. So Tavares beats him up in rounds 1 and 2. Gerald Meerschaert starts to come back a little bit in round 3. Usually when that happens against these young guys, Meerschaert can get him out of there in the 3rd round. Tavares, too experienced, just lackluster fight. Middleweighty as shit. Who gives a hell? This fight was not worth anything. This fight does nothing for either of their careers. They're just here to fill spots on the UFC roster at this point. When you really break it down, look at where these guys are in their careers. But one thing I was not wrong about, my boy O'Day Osborne, plus 220 dog against, what's the guy's name? Luis Gruel. Luis Gruel coming in, minus 300 favorite, and he looks like a beast coming in. He's undefeated, though, and I hate that because undefeated fighters are not doing good this year. They're 2-2 on this card, so that moves them year to date to 12-20. Still negative. They're not doing great. They're at 12 for 32 on their fights this year, and I had a feeling O'Day's quick. He's got some power. He's got some good scrambling ability. I thought he was going to beat this Luis Gruel dude, and he did. Perfectly placed straight left hand, puts Gruel down, finishes him up with ground and pound, TKO in round 2, gets the job done. So, shout out to O'Day, and another O has fallen in the UFC in the year of our Lord 2025. And then finally on the main card, Torres Finney. What the absolute hell, dude. This dude showed why he was on the Dana White Contender Series 3 times with 3 victories. He showed why. It's because he's boring as fuck. Boring as hell. I mean, the dude landed 5 strikes in the whole fight. All he did was try to tackle Robert Valentin, hold him up against the cage, hold him down, do a whole lot of nothing. No ground and pound, no insignificant strikes, no submission attempts, not a lick of nothing. Valentin trying to do a little bit, but you can't do much when you got this big bowling ball just pressing his head into your thigh and doing a whole lot of nothing. So, fight, split decision for Torres Finney, even though he laid on Valentin for about 14 and a half minutes of the fight. Tony Weeks scores the fight, 30-27 Valentin. He said, hey, at least you tried to fight. This guy wasn't even trying to fight. He just wanted to go out there and hug you. Say, hey, buddy, let's not hurt each other. So, Tony Weeks with the greatest MMA scorecard of all time. It's about aggression. It's about damage. Neither did damage. Robert Valentin had aggression. Screw the ring control. Screw the octagon control. It means nothing to me. It means nothing. Nothing. And then we'll move on to the prelims. Not a lot happened there either. Don't you worry. Reese McKee did pick up his first victory against Daniel Frunze. Fun-ass fight. McKee goes out there, drops Frunze 3 times. And then after he gets dropped 3 times, Frunze looks like he's rallying, coming back a little bit, catching McKee. McKee's getting a little bit reckless. End of round 1. They go back to the corners. Corner asks Frunze if he wants him to stop it. He says, no, we're going to keep going. They send the doc in. Doc looks at his eye because his eye's just swollen completely shut. And he says, the eye's good. Lip's fucked. We got to stop the fight. His lip is split all the way open. I mean, you can see bone somehow through his fucking lip. So, stop the fight. Reese McKee gets his first UFC victory by TKO. Looked absolutely amazing. Guy's not bad. He just hadn't been winning. 0-4 in the UFC up to this point. Looking to turn the page, turn over a new leaf, a new rock, whatever that saying is. And then Dione Barbosa, she gets a victory over Diane Belbita. Round 1 submission. Whole lot of nothing on that. I think it was a guillotine. I can't remember now. Other than that, we had a bunch of decision victories that really meant nothing. Martin Boudet beat a light heavyweight that stepped in on short notice to fight him. He weighed 220. Boudet was walking around about 280, so that's not that impressive. Victor Henry had a pretty good win. He looked pretty dominant in his fight. Other than that, though, there just wasn't a whole lot on these prelims. Next week's prelims are better than this entire card. UFC 314, I'm going to have a prelim preview just for the prelims coming out this week because next week's show is just absolutely fireworks. I can't wait for it. UFC 314, that's what we're here for. But this week we had to cover UFC Vegas 105. It's all we had going on. It's all that was going on. So thank you for tuning in. Blood and Beer, that's all I got for you. Make sure you're checking out the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on this card. What'd you think? Am I dead wrong about Lerone Murphy? Does he have a shot at moving up in this after that win? I don't think so, but yeah, that's all I got for you. Thank you for tuning in.